once I started doing it, thought, wow, why wouldn't I realize this? It fit. I should have been doing this my whole life. I kind of found my calling. The process to become a police officer is long.
Officers go through this type of training to see who has what it takes to be a police officer. Master firearms instructor Bill Rusk tells me that precision shooting is important. Every hit must be accounted for.
But what they do is they focus on one point on the target, and they try to get 5 shots that are touching. We need to make sure that our guys are doing precision shooting. If you look at national statistics as far as firearms involved cases, you're looking at a 16 to 20% hit rate. That's not acceptable.
It's definitely not as easy as it would look. Now I can see that there's a lot of training that officers have to go through.
Right. So down at the academy, the students actually go through 40 hours of handgun alone, which is day shooting, night shooting, precision shooting, more of your faster, more point type shooting, not really point shooting, because we're still using our sights. When they talk about point shooting, it's just out and go. We're still wanting them to use their sights.
When you become a police officer, you aren't handed a loaded gun. And neither was I.
So
you have to walk before you can run.
Load it up again. See, there you go. Nice.
Officers are put in situations like this that simulate stress.
Run.
Deputy Greeno says that you need to be able to handle the fundamentals of shooting under stress, such as the grip, the stance, and trigger control.
You simulate the stress as much as possible. Like I said, you practice skills in isolation so that you can fundamentally do all those things when the time comes that you can manipulate your weapon, you can shoot accurately, so that when you are under stress, you revert to that training.
Unfortunately, it seems these days, for police, they risk the most for people who seem to care so little.
Nobody goes to work wanting to shoot somebody.
For those who protect us in big cities or small towns, the job is still the same.
I wanted to help people.
Reporting for News Channel Nebraska, Rachel Urbanski. Brace yourself for 50,000 volts of electricity. That's what I was told.
The anticipation is the worst. It would be a surprise.
As you can see, if there was any fight in me, the taser certainly took it out of me. No. You can't
even if you wanted to, could you have even said anything?
No.
Except what you were saying?
No.
When somebody takes a taser or another weapon away from an officer, there's no other choice, because that's the only reason why they're doing it, is to hurt that officer.
Recently, there has been a lot of stigmas when it comes to the use of tasers.
Taser is not a substitute for deadly force. That is one thing that needs to be clear. Tasers are actually safer to use than strikes, than fighting people.
That's why, with some tasers, a paper trail is left behind when used.
The officer cannot tamper with it. Not even the people that are downloading can tamper with it. Here you'll see where it was armed at 908.
Tasers are an essential tool in their line of defense. After all, the purpose of a taser is to shock, not kill. Part of training included different taser scenarios. Now, you can't feel anything when you're in the suit. The purpose is to get officers used to aiming and shooting the tasers.
Required, activate.
Deputy Greeno, whose background is in EMS, says there's a lot more to these viral videos we see of alleged deaths caused by tasers.
You've seen it is people who are under the influence of drugs, just wrestling that person to the ground. That exertion, that fighting, can be enough. It could have been a situation where it was a big guy, 330 plus pounds, and if we would have fought him, he probably would have got tased. He would have died just because, just that fight would have been enough. And so the taser he's attributed to, as a cognitive factor with it, really had nothing to do with it,
You may ask, why not use pepper spray?
That pepper spray takes a little bit of time to work. If I close my eyes, I can still, get a hold of you. I can still grab. I can still punch. I can still swing a knife. I can still do those things.
Tasers are another force option, a replacement for physical force rather than lethal force. Lethal weapon usage is an absolute last resort.
Get on the ground.
Reporting for News Channel Nebraska, Rachel Urbanski. This is Senna, a Belgian Malinois and a canine for the Madison County Sheriff's Office. As a canine, Senna has to be intelligent, aggressive, strong, and have a good sense of smell to do the things her handler and Madison County Deputy Alex Johnson need her to do.
And trained for tracking, evidence recovery, narcotics detection, and then patrol work, which would be like apprehending suspects.
When it comes to apprehension, you do not want to play hide and seek with a canine. Johnson says that canines are also a great tool for intimidation. Most people don't want to train canines charging them. Officers may lack in visuals. Canines make up with their scent. In 2 separate August manhunts, Senna and other area canines proved to be an extremely useful tool.
In that situation, you couldn't see the individual, but the dog could smell and indicated the human odor inside the corn there. And then after giving announcements, the person complied and gave himself up.
Canines are also very protective of their handlers. This patrol car here is fitted with a special remote that allows Deputy Johnson to open the door and release Senna if he's in trouble. A canine bite is considered an intermediate weapon, on par with the taser, pepper spray, or a baton. According to Deputy Johnson, a lot of patience and time goes into working with canines.
It's very hard. It's harder than most people realize.
And the training never ends.
It's every day. It's basically essentially having another child.
Reporting for News Channel Nebraska, Rachel Urbanski. Officers are granted authority to use force to control violent or dangerous situations. Understanding the legal justifications for use of force is imperative for officers. Officers must quickly select appropriate responses under stress.
You have to make in a matter of a split second a decision that would require months for a lawyer.
Officers follow a certain policy when approaching a lower level of resistance. Their goal is to calm things down and de-escalate the situation before resorting to violence.
An officer, communication is absolutely one of your most effective tools. Being able to prevent an incident before it happens is always preferred to having to use force at all.
The majority of law enforcement uses force that does not reach levels of deadly force, but rather lower levels of resistance. For this, officers must be trained in other techniques. These lower level uses are used to gain control of resistive or combative subjects. Officers are trained in handcuffing, joint manipulation, and pain compliance.
Well, this is what you should have done. Basically, in a stressful situation, you have to use the limited information that you have coming in and make the best decision you can based on that little information you have. Making perfect decisions is not always a possibility. You have to do what you perceive as the best action at that time.
New officers that are going through training are shown how to apply techniques in different scenarios.
There's different techniques you can do, but then that's going to dictate the force that I use. So I might come up and I might take hold of his arm. I say, let's go. If he doesn't want to, I might go, here, let's go. So now that's going to dictate how I'm going to respond. So if he does that, I'm going to take him down. So his actions are dictating what I'm doing or how I'm treating him.
Recently, over the years, different departments over the country have experienced increased scrutiny over the use of force.
Judged in hindsight. Another officer with similar training, similar years of experience, do the same thing that you did in a similar situation. And that's how officers are judged, at least when it comes to legal precedents or case law.
Defense tactics are another tool in their toolbox, a technique that officers don't forget to bring with them. In a threatening scenario, these defense tactics can give officers an extra moment to plan a better response and gain control. Reporting for News Channel Nebraska, Rachel Urbanski. Confronted by a life or death situation, our victim, Mason Greeno, died because I hesitated and didn't draw my weapon quick enough.
Take it in.
Luckily, this scenario wasn't real, but part of a realistic and risk-free drill. As you'll see, the scenarios I was put through were designed to be a high-stress situation that requires the split-second decision-making that law enforcement officers sometimes have to make. The next scenario, all I was told was that an officer was down.
Okay, stop! Put down the gun!
Good, instant area.
You have to assess the situation. You did give him a warning, but you didn't hesitate.
Okay.
You drew your gun right away. You said drop it.
Lastly, another traffic stop. Unlike the first one, the driver was agitated.
That's what you guys do. Stop and collect.
Everything comes back. No warrants.
Okay.
License good. They say 1050. It means caution.
1050.
Yep, 1050 caution. Violence towards others.
Deputy Dave McCart tells me dispatch has given us a 1050, which means use caution with the driver. As you'll soon see just how quickly a situation can become deadly. I, of course, was shot, but in the beginning of training, Reno told me this.
Don't die.
Okay.
No matter what happens in these scenarios, you never quit and you never die.
Okay.
All right? Instilling that kind of mindset
Yeah.
when we're training somebody, so that way if you get shot in real life, you don't go, oh, it's over.
Okay.
You know, oh, you got me, I quit.
The shooter in the scenario, Deputy Joel Vonderhoe, says that you always need to have
That's
a plan.
kind of something, I already have my plan formulated, and
Yeah.
now you have to perceive
Action versus reaction.
and
Yep.
get your plan and then react.
Mm-hmm.
So when I've already drawn,
Yeah.
you're already behind the game.
These scenarios show that anything can happen in an instant. A friendly interaction can turn deadly in a matter of seconds. Reporting for News Channel Nebraska, Rachel Urbanski.